Moses Itauma has just KO'd Dillian Whyte inside of the very first round. What a performance. I mean, this guy is without a doubt now the future of the heavyweight division. I know a lot of people now are really getting on the hype train, talking about him fighting Alexander Usyk next. Personally, I don't think he's ready to fight Usyk yet. I think he needs at least one or two more fights before getting in there with the greatest heavyweight of all time, in my opinion, in Alexander Usyk. But let's just go back to that performance. Now, everyone was picking Moses Itauma to beat Dillian Whyte. However, as the fight got closer and we were seeing Dillian Whyte in better shape, and just the way he was talking and carrying himself in the fight week of this fight, it was actually turning a lot of people's heads. A lot of people were maybe considering Dillian Whyte to maybe pull off the upset. It did make me rethink my prediction. I still went with Moses Itauma to win, but I thought it was going to be maybe round 6 or 7 after coming through a bit of adversity with Dillian Whyte, but that just was not the case at all. What was Dillian Whyte's game plan? Like, you've trained weeks for this, months for this fight. Like, this is probably it for Dillian Whyte. He's never going to get another big fight again, in my opinion, in his career. And that's the fight he's going to go out on. Which Dillian Whyte, in his prime, in my opinion, was a very underrated heavyweight. He gives a lot of good nights against Joseph Parker, the nights against Chisora, Povetkin. Dillian Whyte gave us some really fun matchups, and it's a shame that this is how people are going to remember him. But when you seen him make that ring walk tonight, I just knew it was curtains. I'm just going to be honest. The way he was walking out, he looked nervous, where Moses Itauma looked really calm. Dillian Whyte was trying to play the mind games by making him wait, but if anything, that probably affected Dillian Whyte more than it did Moses Itauma. But fight starts. I actually don't know what Dillian Whyte was doing. I really do not know the plan. Like, I thought Dillian Whyte's game plan would have been be the aggressor, be on the front foot, look to clinch up with him, bit of dirty boxing, be heavy on him. I actually don't know what his game plan was, because he actually didn't do anything, full stop. Now, Moses Itauma, very quick. He's a southpaw, which I think the only southpaw Dillian Whyte's ever faced was like a journeyman really early on in his career. So we've never really seen him be in there with a southpaw. But this was also a big jump up in competition for Moses Itauma, and he passed with flying colours. I mean, in there tonight, he was too quick, he was too powerful. But what really impressed me was the shot selection. The way that he was just picking his shots on Dillian Whyte. Now, to be fair, Dillian Whyte didn't really throw anything back, but the way he was able to just mix it up and find those shots, because Dillian Whyte had a very weird guard. He kept like rocking back and forward and just like kind of moving his hands about. And Moses Itauma was still able to pick out his shots. Like, it's a really shit performance from Dillian Whyte. It was really, really bad. Like, I want to give Moses Itauma a lot of credit and say, like, I do think he is really good, and I think he is the future of this division. And I wish this fight kind of had to win a bit longer, and Dillian Whyte maybe had a better account of himself and what that was, because that was awful. That was actually an embarrassing performance from Dillian Whyte, like that. And I don't want to take away from Moses Itauma, because he was the one that got him out of there. But that was an embarrassing performance. Like, what the hell was that? Even when he got hurt early on, early on, he got stopped in the first round. But you know what I mean? When he was up against the ropes, like leaning back, and he got caught, and he started to stumble. Like, Moses Itauma wasn't on his chest, but he was still close range. Like, I thought maybe at that point Dillian Whyte would have used his experience, maybe flung himself forward, just fell into him, clinch up with him, be a bit heavy to try and negate some of the damage. But that just, there was nothing. There was absolutely nothing. It wasn't like, and I really want to be like Moses Itauma. That was all him. That was all him. But I feel like they could have picked anybody out of the crowd. Like, they could have picked a randomer walking the streets in Saudi, and they probably would have done better. Like, I actually cannot believe that's the performance that we've seen from Dillian Whyte. And obviously the guy's been out of the ring for a very long time. Obviously in his last few fights he didn't look great, but yeah, that was awful. That was a really, really bad showing for Dillian Whyte, who's someone that I actually think is good, or was good, sorry. Really good performance though from Moses Itauma. What else do you want to talk about? Nick Ball, good win, fun fight. Very close though. Like the fact one judge scored at 118 to 110 is absolutely insane. Like they need to start holding these judges accountable, because that's what really fucks up the sport of boxing, in my opinion. Is like these close fights, but you get to the scorecards and they're not even remotely close in the slightest. And it's like, what the fuck have you been watching? And I think they should interview the judges, and if they can give a clear like, well, I scored Nick Ball this round because of this, and this. Okay, that's fair enough, but you don't get anything like that at all. Like, I thought Nick Ball won that fight by about 2 rounds. I don't think it was as clear as 118, 110. David Adelaide had a good show against Filip Hrgovic. A bit. Filip Hrgovic really just was levels above him in there. Filip Hrgovic, though, what a chin he has. How David Adelaide couldn't put him down. Insane, I'm losing my voice. But yeah, Moses Itauma, future of the heavyweight division, will dominate this sport for years to come, in my opinion. What's next for Dillian Whyte? Probably retire. Moses Itauma, maybe do him versus Hrgovic next, maybe do him versus Bakula even. He took no damage, so I want to see him in there. Pretty sharpish. Or him versus Fabio Wardley would be a pretty fun fight, I think. There's so many options you can do with him. But yeah, back now we're on to now it's UFC 319. Hamzat DDP, can't wait for it. Let me know your opinions on Moses Itauma in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And I'll see you all again in the next one.